Hey guys, running on 2 hours of sleep right now because I slept on my couch watching TV. So I thought it'd be the best time to do something as intellectually stimulating as reviewing Sweet Apple Massacre. Now, uh, it, first of all, I usually give you guys the author, but unfortunately, I could not find the original piece. I did a bit of digging and found out that it is presumably by some guy or girl with the pen name Big Macintosh 2000 no 20111. I can't fathom what that number is right now because I'm too tired. But anyways, so if you guys want my opinion, if you should read it before I actually get into the review, don't. Unless you have a really strong stomach and you are willing to ignore a whole bunch of societal like, what are they called, societal, when you don't accept things into society. I'm sorry, like I said, I don't script these, but when you the opposite of societal norms, societal aberrations or whatever. When if you're not willing to, if you can't accept that, and you don't have a strong stomach, you shouldn't read the book. But if you have both those, you might like this. Well, you won't like the story, but you might read it and find it a bit funny. And that's what I found in the story. It was funny, but that was about it. Now, keeping in tune with cupcakes, I believe I found my system that I'm going to go by here. I'm going to review the characters, the setting, the plot, and the grimdark aspect of it. Now, characters. The characters are shoddily done. Applejack is mentioned, but the character's not even worth mentioning. The Khmer Crusaders don't have any personality outside of the victim obvious persona that I went into my cupcakes video that Rainbow Dash was doing, trying to someone who is restrained will try to get help in any way possible. That is what it was. That's what their personality was. So it was very dry. Big Macintosh's personality does a complete 180 from his regular personality, to the point where it's not even feasible. It's not even, like, I couldn't even say that Big Macintosh has a bipolar disorder because it still doesn't make any sense. His character is so out there, so different, and he seems so similar to his regular personality at the same time, that it kind of makes me believe that the only way that Big Macintosh could be this kind of person is if the author ordered him to. There is no way any psychosis could have caused him to be like this without him showing some other kind of problem. Now, that's the characters. We'll talk about setting. The setting takes place in the Barnes apple cellar. The setting is not described in any way. Even worse than cupcakes, I could not even picture the room. I could only picture the actions that were going on in my head as I did the story. Like if it was with cupcakes, like I said, in cupcakes I would picture a blank room. But if I stopped to really think about it, I could put up the images that were explained to me once. Here, there's nothing is explained, so they were in a blank room the entire time as the actions were happening. So the setting was not done well in the slightest. Even worse so than characters. Plot. There is very little plot. The plot is that Big Macintosh has captured the Khmer Crusaders because all he wants is a little peace and quiet, and they're getting in his way. So he's going to torture, rape, defecate on, and kill them. So that's always nice, I guess. It was, the plot line is just shoddily done, something slapped together last minute for someone who wanted to write so-called grimdark, but I wouldn't even call it that. It's a troll fic. There's no way someone wrote this and then looked at it and said, yeah, this is a good grimdark. This will get people. Of course, it gets people talking, but some people will appreciate the darkness that I'm trying to convey here. I'm sorry, I have a timer running because I keep going over my 15-minute time limit. But those three, I'm speeding through these because last time it was 17 minutes and I didn't like it very much. I couldn't cut anything out. So The last part is the grimdark aspect of it, and like I said, this story is not even grimdark. It's like I said in the Cupcakes video. Cupcakes is here. Rainbow Factory would be up here to the point where it's almost not a grimdark. I'm pretty sure. In my personal opinion, it's not a grimdark. Some people still think it is, and who am I to argue their personal definition of grimdark? But I think it's Rainbow Factory, Cupcakes is in the middle, and then Sweet Apple Massacre is like down here. It's to the point where it's not even, you shouldn't even be allowed to call it a grimdark. It's more of a troll fic. It's more of a fic written solely for the shock value that you would get from like reading it, I guess. And it's almost a parody of a grimdark, because like I said, it's funny. If you can stomach through it, it's just funny because the guy who writes it actually has a very good vocabulary. His grammar and spelling are above average, I would say, but the writing itself is just bad. And he shows signs of intelligence through his, his spelling and his grammar and his word choices. But I don't think anyone that intelligent could look at that whole story and say, like, I think this is a good thing to put out. So, the grimdark aspect, my personal definition of grimdark, clumsily dark. It is dark solely because of the torture. Even more so than Cupcakes. Because at least Cupcakes, we could argue, yes, Pinkie Pie might have a bipolar disorder because she has a history of that sort of thing. Yes, the scenery was a bit scary. Even though it didn't stick with you when it was originally given to you, it was a little bit scary. The idea of that many ponies being killed and turned into stuff, and that kind of brought the idea that's what's going to happen to Rainbow Dash. But here, it's just the torture because the characters are bad, the scenery is non-existent, the plot doesn't even exist in the story. There's no underlying psychological theme that I could find. So all there is left is the stuff that is thrown in your face. And like I said, I assume there are 5 things. There's characters, plot, scenes, the underlying themes, and the overlying themes. And this one only has the overlying themes that can give you in order to make itself grimdark. And these are the things I look for in a grimdark. So, like, it's clumsily dark because if it only fills one of those 5 categories, then it's not a well-written grimdark. In order for it to be considered well-written, I'd say it'd have to have at least 3, preferably 4, and if you can do it really well, 5. 2 is underneath Cupcakes because, like I said, you can kind of see some characters and you can kind of see some scenery as well as the in Cupcakes. So dark for shock value, that's all it is. It's not trying to teach a lesson, even less so than Cupcakes, because I mean, at least Cupcakes, the story stuck with me. This story, like, I forgot it already. I actually have a page open right now in case I need to refer to it, because I can't remember a single thing about that story. Rainbow Factory taught the lessons of good versus evil, or I actually recently watched a video by a guy by the name of Cy PK, who did a review of Rainbow Factory, who pointed out the very good thing that I forgot to mention, or that I didn't even notice because I like looking at things from psychological. He looked at things from more emotional. The betrayal aspect of it. You can look at it as a betrayal aspect of a story of betrayal. You can look at it as a struggle between good and evil, about how evil will triumph on occasion, even though good is given all the opportunities, because evil is just too overpowering. Both of those are things you can take away from Rainbow Factory. Now, they aren't shoved in your face and said, these are the lessons that you need to learn from this story, but you can find them, and that's the thing. Cupcakes, there's very little lessons to be gained there. Sure, you can argue the good versus evil is there, but it's not. Rainbow Dash was never given the chance to fight back, and that's the difference between that and Rainbow Factory. Here, it's just like Cupcakes. It's just you don't take there's no lessons to be learned here. There's nothing that you can take away from it. And even worse, at least I remember cupcakes. This story doesn't even, like I said, it doesn't even stick with me. I can't remember a single thing from it. The only line that sticks with me for some reason is because it is so surreally stupid. It's when Big Macintosh is, what is the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to be polite here. He is sexually assaulting Scootaloo while she is tied up. He's raping her. I tried to avoid the word rape, but you know, what are you gonna do? And he says, maybe that's your cutie marks. Maybe your special talent is getting raped. And I think it's at that point where anyone who went into this story hoping to find like a halfway decent grimdark just kind of went, what the fuck does that even mean? And you realize that it's all just a very badly done thing. Dark but not done well. Like I said, 1 out of 5 ways it is dark. If I was judging it solely on the darkness, even if I was judging it solely on the darkness, combining the two I said before, one way of being dark, and I can't remember it for the life of me. It is not done well. And that is the problems I have with Sweet Apple Massacre. Do I like the story? No. Did I take anything? Could I somehow salvage it by looking at it psychologically? No. I couldn't find any psychological aspect to it. There's nothing. Cupcakes had the underlying theme of, you know, maybe Pinkie Pie has a bipolar disorder, maybe all this stuff is happening, the friendship between the two characters being broken by such a by a mental illness. Rainbow Factory had the good versus evil. It had the betrayal. It had the heartbreak. It had the friendship being broken and the sacrifice. All of that. This story has nothing. I can't look at you guys. Well, I can't look at you guys, obviously, but I can't look into this camera and say with 100% honesty, Big Macintosh has a bipolar disorder, because he doesn't show any of the signs. Pinkie Pie has a history of a bipolar disorder, and that's why I can say, yeah, you know, maybe she can have it. She didn't turn into Pinkamania in the story, but she does have a history of a bipolar disorder. So maybe that's the excuse that the author is trying to use here. But I can't say that for this. I can't say anything to excuse the actions of Big Macintosh in this story. And I can't find any psychological thing to look at here. I'm not going to link the story below. I believe that if you guys want to read it, you guys can look it up for yourself on Google, because I do not want a link to that story on one of my videos. I'm sorry, but I will not put it there. I'm running out of time here, so it's my personal opinion on Sweet Apple Massacre. Just, it's not worth your time unless you're looking for a few quick laughs and you have an iron gut, because I know there are a lot of people who read it and get sick from it. So that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. Bernie, you should know later, even today at most, at least. And have a fantastic day. And if you read the story and it ruined your day, can't say I didn't warn you.